backyard. We have chickens to the left of me, to the right of the screen, so you might hear them. I am not expecting them to get too loud, but I apologize if the animal noises, there's cows across the street. So the subject I wanted to touch upon was something that I personally have struggled a little bit with on a personal level, and I'd love to start a discussion about it with you all. Does God bless us with money? Inequities in the world are sometimes hard to bear witness to, and our belief systems can help us make sense of why some people have so little and some people have an abundance. And when coming into money, in my opinion, it's a coping mechanism of sorts when Christians in particular say they have been blessed, because I know there's scriptures about this that claim, like, God definitely does bless some people monetarily sometimes. However, it's kind of like the submission scriptures. People stop halfway into it. Most of the time, it's punctuated with you are therefore supposed to bless others. When God blesses you monetarily, your duty as a Christian is to spread that around and to be a blessing monetarily to others, not just, pick up the phone when they call. And this is where a lot of them fall short, because who really deserves or who earns an abundance of money at once? Who earns millions, especially billions of dollars? It simply isn't something that any one person earns. And we have been, I just feel like we have been psychologically groomed to pedestalize people who make the most money, who have the most money, who have the most money coming to them, whether they work for it or not. People want to give more money to those people. It's a really interesting phenomenon. And it just is like, whose job is more important? The people that have the less amount of money and tend to work jobs that we all need to keep conveniences and our society afloat, or the people who sit at the top telling everybody else what to do. Whose job is more important? We pedestalize people, and that's why they even get away with being CEOs and making exponentially more than anybody else around for doing less. They don't work hard. They don't earn that much money. I shouldn't say they don't work hard. They might work long hours, but they don't work hard in a way that the people that they make the money off of it, the laborers, do. And there is an ethical middle ground to this. Like, several years ago, it isn't like this anymore with Costco. Their CEO makes millions of dollars now, but several years ago, Costco CEO had a cap that he would only make like 6 times the amount of the person who got paid the least on the store floor at Costco made. So he made like $400,000 a year, something like that. Like, if people just had more ethics, then this wouldn't be the end stage of, it wouldn't be late stage capitalism. We'd still have enough money to inject into our society for all of us to keep our economy afloat. But because of the greed of the people who just want more and more money, it's never enough. They have plenty enough money to live off of, and they could live off the interest of for years to come and have generational wealth, but they still want more. And they are hoarding wealth and resources, therefore causing this collapse to happen sooner. And we still idolize those people and put them on a pedestal because they make the most money. So I do believe that the ethical middle ground would be to you just have some ethics, like, I do believe in free capital market, but it kind of got taken away from us 4 years ago when the government decided that the mom and pop shops couldn't operate while the big corporations could. Ever since then, we've had the disparity between the wealthy and the poor grow, and the big corporations and the mom and pop shops. And it's just so many interesting things have taken place. Like, why isn't any Walmart open past midnight? Maybe some cities there are, but like in the towns I've lived in, hi, Unreal Trio, how are you today? It's like ever since 4 years ago, now we can't even have a store open past midnight in most places. Gosh, I think they close at midnight even in the city. And it's like everything is getting worse. The quality is getting more poor. However, it all costs more. And this is a result, in my opinion, of us just idolizing money. I'm pretty good. I am in my backyard and I really like, getting fresh air. I feel good. I probably sound kind of congested, but yeah, I feel well. I hope everybody watching this feels well right now. So the subject is, does God bless us with money? And it's something there are a lot of scriptures of, but the scriptures say when God blesses you with money, you are to bless others. And once again, that's where a lot of people fall short. So this not having ethics and putting your foot down at some point and not siphoning as much money as you can off the own companies that you work for has turned this what used to be a free market into a few monopolizing corporations that are making us all collapse into ourselves. And yes, the free market is ideal. And I'm talking about like corporations because it is what we worship on a certain level. And that's why I think people get away with doing what they do because at the end of the day, we're worshiping the wrong people. Did Jeff Bezos earn that much money? No. Does he have some kind of heart that's special that God blessed him with that much money? So how can you say that God blesses you with money when there's people that are absolutely evil and greedy? Like slave owners were wealthy. Was God blessing them because they were wealthy? The people that own the factories in China where they put nets outside of the windows because people are so depressed working for them they need to put nets outside the windows to catch them from falling. I bet those are some wealthy factory owners, is God blessing them? Like, it doesn't make sense the more you think about it. And it's almost a Buddhist sort of principle, in my opinion, which is something that I couldn't sit well in. Like, when I explored Buddhism, I didn't like it about it either. They think, like, you deserve whatever's happening to you in this lifetime. Like, a little kid getting a terminal illness did something in their previous lifetime to deserve that. And once again, I understand, like, belief systems are put in place to help us cope with life. And these horrible things that are hard for anybody to wrap their mind around. However, when it doesn't, like, sit right, I just can't sit with it, and I think that it's great that Buddhists, are Buddhists. I'm not saying anything against Buddhism, but it's just, like, whatever hardships you endure in this lifetime is because you deserve it. It's hard to really believe in that myself. Because why has God blessed some people with so much? And I know we've all had these thoughts. Like, it doesn't feel like we've been abandoned by God, in my opinion. It's just a cycle that is meant to happen. I absolutely do not feel with any cell in my body that God intentionally blesses some people with money when there's so much evil greed taking place in the world. And we do have the technology and the resources right now. Nobody should be having to starve or want for anything. Hi, Christina Lucifer. How are you? I'm doing well today. Thank you for asking. And to consider yourself blessed by the creator that made us all because you came into some money, it just screams like idolization of money, right? Because if you really think you're that special, and meanwhile there's still people starving. I don't understand how anybody can have that mentality, knowing there's little children born into horrible situations that will never have any opportunities, and like not doing anything about it with their blessings. And I know I sound very judgmental, and I understand some people with money really are charitable people, but we're talking about the people that we know for a fact aren't, because you're not being charitable if you keep making more GoFundMes for every single thing you need money for, like lawyer fees and another plot of land. You are being charitable with your blessings if you keep just asking for more. And this is what so many people, hey, Gail, how are you? Oh my gosh, you excited me so much. I almost knocked my tripod over. So, um, the greatest blessing is to be able to bless others. And I'm sure, like, most of us know that feeling that we are here to serve, to be in community with each other. And that's what is so frustrating when people do get a little bit of money and they turn really greedy. And then they just want more and more and more. And it's not about what they can do to help people. It's about more and more GoFundMe's and how much money can they take away from people that work for it. So often it is these people that don't work themselves. And as I mentioned, there was some thank you, Gail. I believe you were the one that commented about filming outside, right? And like I said, like it's definitely something that I've wanted to do, but thank you for kind of prompting me to, especially since it's going to be too cold to do this much longer. I mean, maybe eventually the weather isn't this weather crazy, guys? How much it's like it's still in the 70s in November. That is crazy. And no, I don't believe it's cow farts. I don't think we should get taxed for it. I think when China's building a new coal factory every single month, we need to like, do something about that before we start trying to make everybody buy EVs in the next 10 years. And it's absolutely undeniable the climate is changing and the weather is warming so much so by each year. Like it is worrisome. Like, am I going to be able to garden and grow everything I want to grow in 10 years from now in this zone? What zone will this be 10 years from now? Right now, I'm like 7A, I believe. So when God blesses you, okay, I'm sorry. This is a quote somebody else said. I don't want to say this like I wrote this. This was a quote I found on a site for Bible studying that I feel like sums up all the scriptures, or most of the scriptures that are about God blessing one monetarily very well. It says, when God blesses you financially, don't raise your standard of living, raise your standard of giving. And I think, if every Christian, if more people in general, it wasn't just a Christian thing, but if people who claim to be Christian really did live by that, the world would be a better place. And I've had a lot of I'm not trying to call anybody out. I've had a lot of Christian friends that, like, with the same complaints about the churches they belong to, and it seems to me like there's a lot of this, like, they do wanna help, like, the people in their church, and that's it. That's, like, their people to it I think Jesus wanted us to be more open with our charity than that and be more giving, and, so, obviously, I'm kind of tying this into Titus. I don't tag Titus in every video that I make about him because I'm not trying to get as many views as I can. I'm glad that the first video I did is getting good views and still gets good views and still gets comments every other day, every 3 or 4 days, that people are glad that they found that video because they had no idea what his past was, and people deserve to know when somebody is trying to be a spiritual guide, and I'm not trying to claim to be a martyr for anything or to help anybody with anything except for feeling better in their body and their environment and maybe help to garden, but so, people that can't understand that Titus is trying to be a spiritual guide for people and to make a living and a good living off of guiding people when he himself is still lost is the point of this content. And this is something that they've said, and it's not just them. I've seen it said a lot. Like I said, we are blessed. The Lord has blessed us. I don't see how anybody can say that knowing what's going on in the world, knowing about the horrible things taking place with, innocent children that didn't ask to be born where they were, couldn't help it, and how can you with a straight face say, "Yeah, the Lord has blessed me?" I think in general, it's probably a narcissistic thing. You have to be really full of yourself to sit there and think that. And it's also when you're not narcissistic, it's a coping mechanism. It's almost like how could you not have survivor's guilt just being handed an abundance of resources, knowing that so many people don't have that. And I think I should end it there. I have a lot more content I wanna make. I took a little bit of a break, and I don't wanna turn this into a live where I'm bouncing around 10 different subjects. So I appreciate everybody that tuned in live, and hopefully I can do this again really soon. Have a great week. Oh my gosh, I can't talk. Have a great weekend.